The Chiefs have just come out on the ice for a warm-up period. They're about to try for their 5th consecutive win. They're getting a good round of applause from their own booster club, who have traveled all the way from Charlestown to be here in Peterborough tonight.
If you're looking to buy or sell a home, make your next move a power play with Mike Burgoyne of Real Brokerage Realty. First responders, veterans, doctors, nurses, teachers, and yes, Let's Go Blues Radio listeners get special rates. Visit strikewithmike.com or email him at mike@strikewithmike.com and score big today.
Have you subscribed to the LGB Minute podcast yet? It's a 5-minute weekly St. Louis Blues podcast hosted by Jeff Ponder that is released multiple times a week to fill the gap between Let's Go Blues Radio episodes. Subscribe today.
So awesome, so handsome, so smart, you'll agree. Kurt, Jeff, and Bill are on TV. It's radio on TV. Oh yeah, it's radio on TV.
From St. Louis, I am Jeff Ponder, and I'm joined by, hey, May, is that Bill Day? Kurt Price is still facing allegations. We're bringing you the often imitated, never duplicated, What Can Brown Do For You? The original St. Louis Blues hockey podcast, Let's Go Blues Radio. This is the 26th episode of season 15 and the 554th episode all time. It's Tuesday, March 31st, and we're coming to you live. Tonight, we talk about some recent games, a big overtime victory, and a huge regulation loss. Some crazy stories from this show's past, a look ahead to upcoming games, all that and more on this totally tubular episode of Let's Go Blues Radio. Of course, I am joined by my friend Bill Day. He says in his little note under his name there, don't ask me about my GAA. So I'm not going to, but I encourage the rest of you to ignore that and go ahead and ask him.
I will not respond.
Oh, your GAA is fine, for like someone who's never played hockey before. But
yeah.
Oh, I can give it to you because I'm on the same team and we had a rough end to our season.
Yeah, there are shooter-tutors with better save percentages and goals against average than me.
I'm sure there's probably shooter-tutors who have allowed less goals to go off them and into the net than me. So I'm with you.
Fair.
Yeah, we had our last game of the season this past week was at Sunday night, and it was close. We made it 5-4 there for a little while, but we ended up losing 6-4. Close game. Yeah, I think we were down 5-2 at one point, weren't we?
Yeah, and got it to within one. After some fuckery most foul.
That is the exact phrase I was going to use.
Yes. So after my rant last week, I felt compelled to bring out the most important piece of equipment in my arsenal, and it doesn't translate well. You can't see it because of the glare. Kind of right there in that picture, you can see it. There's almost a Jerry Cheevers like stitch mark over the eyebrow there. Yep. And I got a full on slash by jackass getting too worked up in beer league hockey. So,
that was annoying. Yeah, what happened was it was in the corner with our teammate, and they were kind of both giving it to each other, which is kind of common in beer league, but the guy, like you said, got too wound up. You made a save and covered the puck, and he kind of skated to the front with our teammate, and he went to slash our teammate, missed, and got you right in the freaking head, which was very annoying.
And I had just made a save, was curled over the puck, and I, for everyone, wearing stripes, I should pretty much be the center of attention at that point.
Yep.
But neither of the two refs saw it. They even got together and talked about it after.
It was a wind up lumberjack slam too. Like the guy literally wound up and slashed as hard as he could, missed our teammate and got you. And I mean, it set me off. We ended up getting matching minors because I went after him and shoved him, and they were like, both of you, 2 minutes roughing. And I'm like, tell me you got the slash. And the referee was like, oh no, I didn't see that. You blew the whistle for a stoppage in play because our goalie covered the puck, and you're saying you missed the slash to his head as that happened? How does that make sense?
The joys of beer league hockey.
I am seriously one to not completely go off on referees. Like, I get it. It's beer league. You're not making enough money. You can't see everything anyway. But that was pretty egregious. I'm like, come on. This dude wound up and slashed our goalie in the head. He's not even getting a penalty for that. He's getting a penalty for the rough with me.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. And, talking with I guess the captain of their team who, likes to take clap bombs from 5 feet in C2 beer league. I love that too. He's like, I said, what the hell, man, and he's like, I'm not going to disagree with you. That was totally inappropriate. You shouldn't have done that. I'm like, get the fucker under control. He's like, he's a grown man. What do you want me to do? If he's going to fucking slash goalies in the head, I want you to throw him off your fucking team. Right? We're out there. We're all out there to have fun and go to work the next day. Right? It's that kind of, that's the one thing that gives me pause about playing. I'm committing to play in another year, but if the league somehow devolves into more of that, no way a rational person would continue to do that.
No, and I'll say that's the thing that always gives me the hang up too. With this being the last game of the season, it gives me time to sit and think, like, do I really want to keep doing this? And the answer right now is going to be yes. But, the more this happens, the more it's like, I'm getting tired of this. Like some of these, just seemingly roided up dudes who are just, like, I'm going to go out and kill someone. It's like, dude, I got to work tomorrow. Like, come on. Yeah.
Right.
And yes, I did approach him after and went after him, but it's because he slashed you. I'm not doing that if they're not doing something stupid like that to cause it.
Right. If you have rage issues, you need to take a kickboxing class, right?
Yes.
Don't bring it to the rink.
Yep.
Yeah, I know. My buddy Chris quit last year after I say quit like it's a bad thing. He rightfully quit after the game he was playing in. They started having guys who were finishing up the school year come home early or come home for spring break and just lighting people up all the time. And that's not the vibe any of us want.
Yep.
So yeah,
I was telling you about a guy we had a couple of years ago that I guess his dad played in our league, and he was a juniors player, literally playing up in Canada for juniors, and he had some kind of like reconstructive knee surgery, and he's like, well, in order to get back into hockey, I'm going to take it easy and just play beer league, and I'm going to play with my dad, which honestly I had no problem with. Even if you're like a super awesome hockey player and you want to play in a lower league just to play with your dad, totally get that. But this dude was outscoring 8-9 goals a game, and it was like, dude, take it easy, come out, get your sea legs back under you, set up your teammates, make some nice plays here and there, play some defense. This dude was playing like first line center, and just every chance he got, he was sniping the goalie top shelf. And I'm like, okay, man, you are proving you are better than everybody on the rink, as you should be, because you're at least 10 to 15 years younger than all of us. And 2, you're playing juniors. Like, get out of here. Come on, man.
Right. Right. Even the guys that that they shouldn't be playing in our league, once there's a good enough cushion, they just rag the puck. Right.
Yep.
And that's, the guys that don't do that are so much more annoying.
I don't get it. I mean, I'll admit, when I was 25, maybe 24, I was playing with, I had my girlfriend's dad at the time asked me to come out and play with him and his buddies, and they were all dudes in their 50s and 60s. And so I'm like, are you sure? And he's like, yeah, come on out. It's fun. We all just kind of skate around and have a good time. And so I went and I seriously, like, I went for the exercise. That's all it was. Cause I'm like, I'm not going to go full steam. I'm not going to, go into the corner and light someone up. I'm not going to, snipe shots, even though I'm, not saying I'm a good player, but comparatively speaking, it was like, yeah, I could probably snipe some shots on this 60-year-old goalie. And I chose not to do that because it's like, I'm going to play at these guys' level. If I get a chance to break up a 2-on-1, I'll do it. I'll make passes. I'll set them up. I think I played 3 times. I think I maybe shot the puck twice the entire time, because it's like, that's not what I'm here for, and it's the same with these kids that show up and play in beer leagues, and they're clearly much better. Like we played a Maryville's D1 team, came and played roller against my team a couple weeks ago, and they just lit us up. And I'm like, what are you guys doing here? Like, this is ridiculous. You do not belong in this league.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's something to be said about knowing your opponent and knowing the stakes, right?
Yeah.
And the guys that can't get beer league hockey stakes, right? Everybody wants to win, of course, but not at the expense of putting somebody out of work for a few weeks.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yep. All right. Well, let's move on. We got some chatter going on in the chat about last night's game. So, guys, we will definitely be getting to that.
We're delaying as long as possible.
Of course. Yes, we are, because I was actually a little upset last night's finish.
I was too.
Yep. The roller coaster of this season, as is the title of this episode, right? The fact that 2 weeks ago we were like, oh man, they're winning. That's not a good thing right now. Now we're like, win, go to the playoffs. Why not? It's just such a weird season. So, but we will get into that. Beers of the episode. Let's get into that. Official beer of episode number 554. You can follow each of us on the Untapped app. Bill is at Billy Blue Note 33. I am at JPonner94. Bill, what are you sipping on tonight?
So going back to one I had a few weeks back, the North Coast Old Rasputin Russian Imperial Stout. Figure we might do some season end prognostication. So who better than Rasputin? That, and I need to dull the pain from the slash to my head and last night's game.
Last night felt like a slash to the head for sure.
Oh, it did.
Yep.
And to the dick.
Yeah, you got a slash to the head 2 nights in a row.
Yeah.
So for me tonight, I'm drinking an old favorite of mine, Urban Underdog. I can never turn the can correctly. American Lager, just a beautiful little kind of stencil type art on that can. It's again a very light lager. It's very good. Got it in my rhythm and blues glass. So definitely a good one, a good sipping beer, a good summer beer, because like I said, it's very light. And I'll be making the switch to summer beers here very quickly.
Yeah, that's I am clearing out the remaining stouts in the fridge, so that's what this is a part of. And this glass was stolen from a Gurk's probably 30 years ago. So there's that.
Stouts? There's stouts in the stands? We've got BH Kel 5602 saying, yeah, a weird season indeed. Yes, it has been. Winning Unlimited checking in, our friend Adam Gold, friend of the show, Mr. Adam Gold of the Gold Plan. I'll be in New York this weekend to see the New York Sirens and Seattle Torrent play the first public women's hockey game at a sold-out Madison Square Garden. Okay, I see what you're saying. They're playing at Madison Square Garden. Okay, that's awesome. That'll be very cool. I'll be have to Adam, how can people watch? I'm pretty sure YouTube is the answer, but make sure people know how they can find that game if they want to watch it, because that will be a very good one. 2 very good teams there in the PWHL. And BH Kell says that's going to be a great time. I agree. It's going to kill. It's going to be awesome. So have fun, Adam. All right. Let's get into our first segment here. We're actually going to lead off with our Let's Go Blues Extra, which we have decided to do to close out this show, as we've got 4 episodes left after this episode. Of course, if the Blues make the playoffs, that will have to change. We will have more shows probably, but I think you and I are still holding pat. We don't think it's going to happen, but my God, is it getting close? You never know.
Yeah. Seattle, the the Oilers are doing us a favor right now and have a 2-0 lead on Seattle, who's just above us in the standings. So that would nullify their game in hand, which would be nice. But yeah, we need a lot of help. We need a lot of help.
Yes, this is, like I said, last season it was Blues just win and control your own destiny. This year it's everybody else needs to lose.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, our Let's Go Blues Extra this time. Last week we did the Mount Rushmore all-time Blues, and tonight we're actually going to do something a little different. So again, this is going to be something we'll do until our last show. We're going to do something extra special. This week, we're going to kind of take a look back at the past 15 years that we've been doing this show. And what are the greatest, craziest, weirdest stories we've covered at Let's Go Blues Radio. So again, if you get in the way back machine, we started this show in September of 2011. Mr. Billy Blue Note was not in attendance for that. He did not join the show until 2015. I always forget, 2015, right?
Yeah, 2015.
Yep.
Feels right. Yeah.
Yep. So Bill came in 2015, but Kurt Price and Avery Quirin and I all started off on the show. And I remember our first show was literally talking about the Blues' off season, which was the Blues had signed Jason Arnott, Jamie Langenbrunner. There was a defenseman, Ken Huskins. I believe it was Ken Huskins. And a goaltender who everybody was like, oh, this guy's going to be our AHL starter, Brian Elliott. And Brian Elliott obviously turned out to be, I'm not even going to say arguably, one of the greatest Blues goaltenders of all time. In a very much limited role for him, turned out to be such a success story. And I remember when we talked about Elliott joining the team, we were both like, oh man, he might, give Ben Bishop a little bit of a push in the training camp, but yeah, no way. Ben Bishop's going to be your backup. He'll be the starter by next season. And we all know that is not how that went. So again, just kind of looking back in 15 years time, how far we have come. Some of you, myself included, have had children in that time and are now teenagers. And again, that is myself included. So, but Bill, I think the biggest one that we can both kind of agree on, obviously biggest story we've ever covered, the 2019 Stanley Cup run. I mean, nothing compares to that one.
Yeah, nothing will ever compare. Like we were, I think all of us, including you who are, much younger than the Grizzled Vets Blues fandom that Kurt and I are. I think we had all pretty much assumed we were never going to see Stanley Cup in our lifetime. And,
I did. I did too.
And that season, it's still like if I need to reboot my soul, I go back and watch, the highlights beginning with January 3rd. And all the way through the Stanley Cup final, right? That was the most inspiring, most incredible, dreamlike season any team could ever have. It's one of those that you hope that there's a movie made of it someday. And yeah, it was awesome. So clearly, that's number one.
My favorite conversation piece of that. So. My favorite quote of that whole run was when we won, and literally the next day we did a show. It was they won on a Tuesday night, I believe, and then we did a show on Wednesday. Might have been Wednesday, Thursday. I don't remember, but it was the next night. And Kurt literally opened the show by saying, "The St. Louis Blues are Stanley Cup champions." How weird is that?
Yeah,
hearing that at the time. That still rings in my head because it's just like that encapsulates I think how we all felt. Like, what do we even do? It's like it's Talladega Nights, Will Ferrell. I don't know what to do with my hands, and it's like it's the same for us. Like, what do? We won. Like, do we just kind of like quietly run away? Like, oh my God, we captured the Stanley Cup. Like, it just felt so weird to finally see our team do it, which was interesting. But I was going to say my favorite story from that whole run wasn't even in the playoffs. It was right before the turnaround, I don't know if you remember this conversation, Pat Maroon was playing so poorly, and people forget about this. He was getting healthy scratched. He did not have a good start to the season. I mean, he looked awful. He looked out of place, and it was, my God, can the Blues get rid of this guy any quicker? And I don't know if you remember the exact discussion we talked about, because at that time, Patrick Berglund had just left the Buffalo Sabres and terminated his contract. And we were like, at this point, who would you rather have, Patrick Berglund or Pat Maroon? And all three of us said, at this point, I'd rather have Patrick Berglund. Like, give him a call, put Maroon on waivers, get rid of his ass. And thank God that didn't happen. Because Maroon, I don't know if you all remember, scored a pretty important goal. Yeah. And I don't know if Berglund scores that goal.
Yeah, I don't think we've got the same lines in that game.
No.
Yeah, so that there was definitely something magical about that. I vaguely recall that conversation, but yeah, we were all done with Maroon.
Yep.
And I mean, we were done with a lot of guys on the team. And yeah, who would have thunk that the guy that we had made a tagline, what about Binnington, right? That was a running gag for 2 seasons before he made the one appearance in Edmonton and didn't look good and went right back down. And so it was, it was one of our followers, one of our commenters during the show posted that, and I think we were still back on Google Hangouts.
No, I'll tell you what actually it was we used to do a segment called social media fails.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And we would scour Blues social media, like replies to the official Blues Twitter and the official Blues Facebook, and we would find the funniest stuff that people were saying, because it was, I mean, you all probably check those posts out every now and then. Some of the dumbest things you can read on the internet are posted by sports fans. And that was one of those where it was like a defenseman had gotten injured and the Blues called up like Chris Butler or something, in his place. And some random lady just posted, what about Binnington? And we all, like, I saw it and I instantly cracked up. So I'm like, Binnington, this guy, really? And I mean, in fairness, he was still like 19 or 20 at the time. He had just joined the at the time it was the San Antonio Rampage. Is that who was our? Yeah. I think it was it might have been, I don't remember. I think it was San Antonio, but either way, he had just joined our AHL team. And it was like, why would they call up a goalie right now? Like, they're fine. And then, like, and somebody else even responded to her and was like, Binnington, that guy, really? Like, what? And we all joked about it for years. And then Jordan Binnington comes up and we were like, hey, that lady's comment is, I bet she's happy. Blues go on to win the Stanley Cup. Jordan Binnington breaks a record, most wins by a goalie in the postseason. And just unbelievable that that actually came to fruition. But yes, that was a social media fail that we called out on the show.
Yeah, that to me has to be one of my the best through line of anything we've had. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I'm glad we didn't trade him at the deadline. He won't finish his career here, but I would love it if he did.
Oh, I would too. I would love it if he was just, after his next contract was like, hey, just give me $2 million contracts to the end of my career. I would pay that. I think he's worth it. And, he's got the veteran presence to be a backup. I would love it personally, but that's me. Anyway, so other crazy things that have happened. We're kind of talking about goaltending, so let's bring this one up. I know you love this one. David Ayers in 2020. Mm-hmm. That was one of the craziest stories we ever saw. The fact that it was a Toronto Zamboni driver literally beating the Maple Leafs in his own barn as a member of the Carolina Hurricanes. Yeah, fantastic.
It was on the either the night before or the night of a show. So like the timeliness of it was amazing. Oh God. I mean, the e-bug craze that the NHL has seen and now figured out a way to ruin with the rule that goes into effect next year. that every team has to have an e-bug that travels with them.
Mhm.
So that to me, that was like the one of the roots connecting like every kid's dream, right? You were just one injury away from getting plucked out of the stands to play, and the NHL had to, sanitize it and say no, never again. That was every kid's fantasy, and I love the fact that we've gotten to see it. We got to see it here in St. Louis, right?
Yep.
The guy from Obi Clark's got to dress,
I always forget
and
his name, but yeah,
yeah,
yep, that was really cool.
and that's, to me, that is something that I think I will have to drink a toast to at the end of the season, is the death of the e-bug. But the David Ayers story, and the fact that Carolina brought him there to ring the siren against the Leafs.
So good. Well, the
Oh
fact
my
it's
God.
so funny because he's a Leafs fan too, but it was
Right,
like, he's
right.
like, oh, I'm a Hurricane for life, baby.
Yeah, that was awesome. So
That
yeah,
is
that
very
that was
cool.
definitely going to be up there on my list. The other thing, we talked about the other night, was Roar Bacon,
Yeah,
right?
oh yeah, Roar Bacon. Yep.
Roar Bacon
We
was
had a post-game show
yeah,
that night.
and we were on the air when the tweet came out, and
Yep.
it, like, we got to witness virality as it occurred.
Yep.
So
Yeah, that was definitely an awesome one. I remember when that came out. I think it was actually Chris Pinkert that was posting for the Blues at the time, a friend of ours that has, gosh, he's been with the Blues now for what, 15, 16 years, something like that. But yeah, yeah, it was funny because instantly he tried to retract it, but everybody was like, nope, it's already out there. You said Roar Bacon. And it worked. I mean, the Blues came back. They Roar Baconed back in the game and won. And it was a lot of fun to talk about here on the show. And my favorite part about that is the fact that we tried to do a mystery hockey theater for Roar Bacon. And apparently that's one of the games that the NHL has decided you cannot post on YouTube. If you go to my channel, you'll see hundreds of old hockey games that I've posted. But for some reason, Roar Bacon between the Blues and Blackhawks from, was that 2017, 2016, whatever year that was. Yeah, that was one of the ones that you cannot post, which is very silly.
I have a conspiracy theory about why that is, and that is that there may have been footage of the Chicago rapist. We won't say his name, but
Huh. That's
it's
interesting.
it's not really a conspiracy theory. I just think that would be an interesting reason why they would
I would have.
ban
I'll
that
have to.
game.
I'll have to see if there's any games from that time frame that's on. Comment of the show says that was 2015. Is it true? That was that long ago? Man. Okay. Well, I will trust you, Mr. Matt. Yeah, you mentioned the Blackhawks. I mean, obviously, the sadder side of things we've covered. The Blackhawks and Hockey Canada scandals. We've been able to cover that as podcasters, which, again, I'm not going to say it's like a crowning achievement or anything like that, but the fact that, we've been able to have those kind of serious discussions as well. As you all know, we like to have fun. We like to sit around and talk and just, be silly hockey guys. And but being able to actually cover like real stories, 2018 Humboldt Broncos as well. That's always been something that I've been proud that, I will say I have done shows with other people, just kind of spot shows with other podcasters regarding the Blues and the NHL. And there's a couple of them I would never want to have a serious conversation about that kind of stuff with, but having the comfort to be able to talk to you and Kurt on air about this stuff live, I think speaks to your character, speaks to, not going to toot my own horn, but speaks to my character and says that, we obviously understand the difference between right and wrong, and we know how to talk about things on the air. So those are always, as awful as they were, they're also always special moments, I think, that we've had on this show.
Yeah, it's being able to not have to come back and apologize for offensive comments is one of the things that I think I'm proud of about this
Yeah.
show, right? We can talk about serious things and, not get too overboard, and not say too dumb of shit. Like, we make mistakes. I make more mistakes than, the rest of, you and Kurt combined. Some of my commentary, I will say one of my most embarrassing moments was when I was going to do a draft show with you, and I confused Darnell Nurse with somebody else, and in that it was that draft year, and the story was that he was the nephew of God, I'm going to blank on it, the NFL quarterback, and I totally attributed it to the wrong person, a white guy. Like, that's an interesting story.
Yep.
But yeah, and I thought for sure you were gonna be like, you're never coming back on the show.
Oh, please. For the fact that I was confusing Michael McCarron for Michael McDonald.
that is, yeah, maybe that has to be one of our last show. What is the hardest we've ever laughed on this show?
Yeah, you and I lost it pretty good. That one and Carl Lindbaum's Carl Lip Balm. We all kind of lost it at that point too.
Yes, that's God, that was pretty awesome.
So you say we've never apologized. I will say I'm not going to say what it was because we do not need to rehash it. But Kurt is the only one that's actually had to come out and apologize for something he's said or done with the show. So do not say it, but do you remember what it was?
I remember the apology.
I will message you. I will message you separately. It's like I said, we do not need to bring it back up,
but not what it was for.
Yep. Okay. So for me, another thing that we've covered that and that's kind of the fun thing with being a podcaster. I think that with a lot of you listeners, I'm sure you're like, oh, I can't wait to talk to my buddy about this. I'm going to see my friends at hockey and we'll talk about this. Which hey, Bill and I can do that too. We both are like, oh yeah, it'll be fun to talk to the boys about this. But for me, it's kind of interesting. And Bill, you might be the same. Maybe you're the same with the David Ayers thing. I'm like, I cannot wait to talk about this on the show. Like when something like kind of crazy news comes out, it's like, oh man, I've got a podcast. I get to come on and talk to people about this craziness. And I remember one specific incident was the Arizona Coyotes playing in a college arena from 2022 to 24. I remember just thinking like, oh, what are Kurt and Bill going to have to say about this one? Like it was so on brand for Arizona to move to such a small arena. And I will say that is one of my bigger regrets. There are two major NHL regrets I have: not seeing a game there and not seeing a game at the Joe in Detroit. Those are two of my biggest ones. But yeah, I remember when that story came across the line, I thought, oh man, I get to talk about this on a hockey podcast. This is going to be fun.
Yeah. That's another rabbit hole we could go down. Biggest regret of building you never went to, clearly for me, Montreal Forum.
Yeah. That makes sense.
That would have, I was too young and too far away to make it happen. But yeah. There were a lot of times, that it was, goalie goals. Anytime there was a goalie goal, got me a little extra pumped to come on and make sure that we mentioned it. And unfortunately, we still haven't seen it with the Blues. But I think when Joel Hofer got one, and we're like, hey, that guy's going to be here in a year or two, and the next year he was up. So
that was very exciting.
Looking like the real deal for a number one A kind of goalie for us right now. So.
Comment of the show says, dude, that Arizona barn was so sick. Yeah, you went to a game there. I bet that was, again, like, it was funny, in a sense, with it being an NHL team playing in a small arena. And the fact that it was like there were so many hurdles they had to make because it's like, the NCAA has so many restrictions on what they were allowed to do with the locker rooms and different things. And so it was just kind of funny, NHL team having to bow to the NCAA. But I'm sure the atmosphere there was incredible. I still remember watching the first game there and just being like, oh my God, this place is electric. That has to be so much fun. So yeah, I know, Matt, you mentioned you got to go to a game there, which is very cool. Another quick one I wanted to mention, when the puck went off Tim Peel's dick and went into the net, Robert Bertuzzo in December of 2018 shot it in off Peel's area. And somehow, I mean, the trajectory of that puck was something to behold. I mean, because it went straight in and then it bounced on the ice and then it started just kind of curling and it somehow went past Luongo, who just had no idea where the puck was. And it was just such an odd play. And I remember, again, one of those moments being, oh man, I cannot wait to talk about this one on the show. We're gonna have some damn good laughs with this one.
Right. And a joke we didn't make at the time, but I get to make now because we're reliving it. I think that the English on the puck was because Tim Peel might have Peronis.
There you go. That's it.
Don't sue us, Tim Peel. We're just joking.
Yeah. And
although I will say the stuff that came out a couple of years after that, once he was out of the NHL and, shown up in social media around St. Louis, the incident that he had chasing down youth hockey referees and telling them how it was after a game, that made me like, I'm glad he got hit in the dick.
Yep. And I'll say I was probably a couple days away because I have talked to Tim Peel a couple times. He actually helped us get a referee for the Ponder Cup one year, which, by the way, worst referee I have ever had in my life. Got drunk on my tab without telling me and just disappeared when the game ended.
I've heard that story.
Yeah, that was him. That was Tim Peel's guy. So that was definitely a brown stain on Peel's legacy with me. And then when that happened with the youth players, I'm like, yep, strike two, you're out. Nope, we're not doing this. So yeah, I have intentionally not getting Tim Peel on the show for those reasons. But yeah, that was not completely placing blame on the referee thing, but yeah, that definitely made me say, like, okay, I'm going to question Peel's judgment if he recommended this guy. So anyway, so again, so many different things we talked about. We got a list here. I think there's like 5 here we haven't mentioned, but yeah, I think I'll leave it there. Bill, you have anything else to add before we take break?
No, we go on all night, and our commenters are anxious to get to last night's debacle.
Yes. Yeah, we will do that. So we'll come back. We'll talk about some Blues playoff odds as well as last night's game and the games from this week, and also some news out of Anaheim and Toronto with Radko Gudas that I know we'll want to talk about. So don't go anywhere, folks. You are listening to Let's Go Blues Radio. We will be right back.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
What are you doing? Have you not subscribed to the Let's Go Blues Minute yet? Do it wherever you get podcasts. It provides a daily look into the St. Louis Blues, filling the gap between Let's Go Blues radio shows. Go to Spotify, go to Apple Podcasts, go to Friendster. I don't care. Just subscribe and get fresh blues content daily. Do it. Like now.
Every hockey team needs that clutch player who knows when to pass, when to shoot, and when to take charge. In real estate, that superstar is Mike Burgoyne of Real Brokerage Realty. Whether you're buying your first home or selling your current one, Mike skates circles around the competition with his knowledge, hustle, and down-to-earth approach. And here's the real zone ability. If you're a first responder, veteran, doctor, nurse, teacher, or even just a loyal Let's Go Blues radio listener, you'll score special rates when you work with Mike. Got questions? Fire them at him. He'll answer quicker than Bill Day's glove hand. Obstacles in your way? He'll plow through them harder than I would in a goal-mouth scramble. And when it comes time to close, he'll put it in the back of the net faster than a Kurt Price shot from the slot. So don't just settle for an ordinary realtor. Get the MVP on your side. Visit strikewithmike.com or email him at mike@strikewithmike.com today. Mike Burgoyne, the real estate teammate you can always count on. Let's get into our random topic. It's a topic generator. Well, we are not going to tease the generator. We're actually going to do it. Streaming fatigue, volcanoes, pyramid schemes, moving back in with your parents.
I have no idea.
But he spent like up to $5,000 for my bow tie.
Wow.
And I'm like, wow, I could use that money.
So you need to realize that only the largest apartments in the country have their own SWAT teams, okay?
And it popped, and it hurt, man. I went down, and I didn't want to blow the tape.
There's some things I've decided I will not do anymore, okay? Riding a bike uphill, don't want to do that.
Ooh, yeah.
And now, back to Let's Go Blues Radio, the longest running St. Louis Blues podcast with Price, Ponder, and Day.
Tomorrow is the big day for the podcast. We release our first episode. So, again, don't want to spam y'all with talk of a podcast that is not hockey related, but it is run by your second favorite host, behind Bill, of course. And we're going to be releasing that show at about 9 a.m. tomorrow. First guest, for those of you in St. Louis, you probably recognize the name. John Pertzborn is my first guest. So I will have him on tomorrow. And hope you all enjoy it. Go to your favorite podcasting app, whatever it is. We are already on there. Search for The Pondcast, like my last name. Conversations that go nowhere. It should pop up. Smash that subscribe button so you don't miss any episodes. I have already got 9 light up, Bill. So we'll have a full slate of shows to kick us off. So again, The Pondcast, conversations that go nowhere. Hit that subscribe button wherever you get podcasts, wherever you get podcasts, and don't miss an episode.
Don't try to get it in a pond, though.
No, do not. Especially while listening to the podcast. You might electrocute yourself. Yeah, I did get asked about my logo. They're like, wait, so why is there a car in the middle of your pond? And I'm like, because they were going nowhere. Kind of like in The Office when they laked their car. And the guy was like, oh my God, that's brilliant. And I'm like, thank you. I'm pretty proud of it. I did not design it. I did hire someone to design it, but I did give him the concept. So he did a great job with it.
Yeah. Multi-layered right there.
Yes.
Is what that is.
That's right. All right. Okay. We got plenty of talk here in the chat. So sorry, folks, took us so long to get to talking about last night's game. But first, let's talk about some Blues playoff odds. So last week when we looked at this, they were at 4.1% to make the playoffs. This week, they are at 5.2%. And it's important to note that the San Jose Sharks were actually at the same odds as the Blues going into last night's game. That win catapulted them. And when I say catapulted, I mean it. They went up 20 percentage points, and they are now at 25%. So that just goes to show that if the Blues would have won last night, how much their playoff odds would have improved.
Right. It saves us having to do the math.
Yes, that's true.
Which we all know that's our strong point.
Oh, 100%. Yes. No, so and again, let's go ahead and get into last night's game. Blues lost this one 5-4 in San Jose. It was quite the interesting game. A lot of weird stuff happened in this one, but we mentioned San Jose wins this one. They move 2 points behind the Nashville Predators, who have played 2 more games for their second wild card into the Stanley Cup playoffs from the Western Conference. If the Blues would have won this game with that and a win tomorrow night against LA, because of the way the schedule is working out in the NHL this week, the Blues would have actually held the second wild card spot after Wednesday night's games. So going into Thursday, if the Blues had won in San Jose and they won in LA, they would have been holding a wild card spot. How crazy is that, Bill? The fact that they were 14 points out at the Olympic break, and now they had a chance to be sitting in a wild card spot with just a few games left.
Yeah, it's nuts. And I'll tell you what, if the Blues offer a month by month plan on tickets, I'm buying March next year.
Yes. I don't get it, man. I gotta say, like, sure, it makes it exciting, but it is annoying how awful they play at the start of seasons lately and how strong they finish. And it's like, if you played just mediocre hockey in the first part of the season, you would be a playoff team right now. Easy. And also factor in, they wouldn't have had to have traded Braden Shen, which, I know some people have joked like, oh, it just goes to show Shen wasn't that big of a deal. Yes, he was. He was a very big emotional leader for this team, which part of the reason I think is why they're still playing well without him is because they want to prove they can. But yeah, for me, it's like you play 500 hockey and then you get to late February, early March. This team's a playoff team.
Yeah, I think that going into this year, this was Montgomery, right? He was going to have the full season, right? It's the second full season. Last year was, wait, when did we hire him? Was it?
It was last season,
Last season.
November.
So going into the season, right? It was his first full season. So let's see what he does when he has a plan or has the time to implement his entire plan. They fell flat on their face, right? The start this team got off to was just horrible, reminiscent of why he got fired in Boston. He does that again next year, he's on the hot seat, right? He's probably the first coach canned, especially with Steen coming in as the GM, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I don't want that for him. When this team gets going, he's a great emotional leader, but he's definitely now got a track record as not a guy to get a team ready to start the season. So hopefully that changes next year. Because
Bill, you talked earlier this year that Mike Weber might be the problem on the defensive side because the defense looked so bad. And what I was saying to accompany that, even when the offense wasn't clicking, I'm like, that's going to work itself out. It always does. This Blues offense will figure it out. Mm-hmm. The defense is concerning because you know how to play defense, the strategy defensively. And the fact that this team was falling apart in the defensive zone, and, of course, fans want to completely blame the goaltending. And I think Bill and I can agree that the goaltending, I'm not going to say was great. It wasn't stealing games, but it wasn't as bad as people were saying, oh, well, Binnington, Hofer has got to have that. And it's like, well, maybe there shouldn't be 3 backdoor chances in one period for the same team. Like, the defensive side of the puck was what really concerned me and made me say, there's no way this team even touches playoff contention. And then they come back from the Olympic break. Oh, all of a sudden, we know how to play defense again. It makes no sense.
Right. I'd love to hear them talk about what tweaks they made internally because, gone are the wide open backdoor chances that plagued us the entire first 3 quarters of this season. Right. And, you can't blame Justin Falk. He was playing well coming out of the break too. Right. It's not just his subtraction by him. Although I will say, and I don't know if I got to make this point or make it enough last week that, Tyler Tucker went down with an injury in that Calgary game and you immediately noticed the improvement in the Blues defense that game. Like they started playing with, forward momentum the rest of the game. And that seems to be what they've done, right? They tweaked defensive coverage and made sure that, teams weren't able to get the pass across the center axis of the defensive zone, takes out half the high danger scoring chances, and you're programming your guys to go forward, cut the gap and press and not give them as many easy zone entries. And it's just been night and day difference. I like I said, I would love to hear them, like Jim Montgomery, Mike Weber, Claude Julien. I don't know that he talks anymore. I'm not sure exactly what his role is here. Occasionally, it looks like he whispers something into Montgomery's ear, but I don't know.
I did see him with the iPad a couple games ago. He was showing, I think it was Thomas something, and I thought, I think that might be the first time I've seen him have a conversation with a player on the bench.
Do you see what I just played? Words with Friends? This is awesome.
Coach, I was actually coming to you for face-off advice, but okay, cool, man.
No, all kidding aside, Claude Julien he is a legendary coach, and he was traded, right? He was a Blues player who was traded for Jacques Demers, a coach.
That's crazy. That's a bizarre hockey moment there for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll agree with you. And I got to tell you, man, I mean, I know the talk is Theo Lindstein, who we're going to probably be singing praises about here in a couple minutes. But for me, I have really liked Justin Holl. Yeah. I think he looks great as a Blue. Now, I mean, obviously, he was kind of the throw-in, I think, to kind of make the money work in the Falk trade. So I'm not expecting, like, major, things from him. But I'm like, he's just kind of been a pleasant surprise. He's a steady force back there. He's scored with the Blues. He's had a couple assists, and I think he's played really well in his own zone. He's not leaving guys open in front of the net. Again, he's not a force out there like you're seeing Broberg be right now. But in terms of, let's put it like this, he's what you want in your sixth defenseman. Mm-hmm. He's what you're hoping Tyler Tucker will turn into. But that's just not in the cards. I'm okay with playing Holl over Tucker till the end of time.
And Kessel.
Yeah, and Kessel. Yep.
No, he is totally I think the best word is he's got the competence to play 6D pairing minutes, right? And he hasn't looked out of place. Wondering, the Red Wings obviously have a ton of youth that they want to get in the lineup on their defensive side of things. So he was numbers, kind of a numbers thing there. And it's working out very well for us. Does he come back next year? Not if Juracek's ready to go, but what he's given us this year, man, it's beyond all expectations.
Might be a joke here from Joe Schmo, but it's true. He says Holl solid, fills a hole. Yeah, I agree. And then Divide by Zero says Holl is a much better option, in my opinion. Yeah. And BH Kell agrees, especially Kessel. Yeah, I think he's a better option than Kessel as well. And, Holl is 34. He's an older guy. I cannot believe that he got signed to a 3-year AAV of $3.4 million. That is insane. Was that Detroit that signed him to that?
Yeah.
What were they thinking? Good Lord.
Was that after they unloaded Wallman?
I think so. 2023 was when it was signed. Baby. That's crazy. But either way, I think if he's willing to take quite the pay cut, which at 34, as a guy who didn't even play in the NHL until he joined the Blues this season, I think if he's willing to take maybe a 1 year, $1 million, I'd sign him to that, because then I don't think it's a huge deal if, like you said, Juracek comes up, maybe Lindstein's full time, which I think right now he's proving he can be.
Yeah, I think
you could hide him down in the AHL if you absolutely had to. Holl, that is.
Yeah, and he's shown that he's willing to stay there, right? Yep. Maybe at 35 he's less willing, but what he's shown this year, yeah, I would take that. Right. I would have him, and then you have a veteran guy instead of Tyler Tucker, who is trying to get to veteran status, but don't know he's going to make it.
Well, with the Blues coaching staff, he will. I don't get it. I hate to keep beating that dead horse, but I just don't get it. What do they see in Tyler Tucker? Oh, it hurts my head. I just don't get it.
compromising photos of Doug
It's got to
Armstrong.
be, right? I mean, I'm starting to kind of lose my mind here every time I think of Tyler Tucker. I'm like, what are we doing? But maybe this issue fixes itself in the offseason. Maybe Steen is seeing what we're seeing, and he does everything he can to get him off this roster. I think in order for him not to play, I think it's going to have to be the GM saying, yeah, we got to get him out of the organization, because for some reason, Jim Montgomery loves this guy.
Yeah, I mean, everybody loves the underdog story of the big, lumbering defenseman that, has upside. His upside is disappeared at this point, I think. It's no secret that this show is not a fan of him. But yeah, I'm with you, agree, in hoping that Steen will make that move.
Divide by Zero says, I think Kessel is a UFA, isn't he? No, he is an RFA. He has one more year left of eligibility. So I could see the Blues qualifying an offer to him, but I'm okay with them waiting until the last possible minute to see if maybe he'll decide to go somewhere else. Because I think as an AHL defenseman, he's solid. And as a call-up, I think he's a great option. But full-time in the NHL, I don't think that's in the cards for Matthew Kessel. Unfortunately, he had a great start when he came up here, but I think we're seeing what he truly is, which is a first pairing AHL and then a call-up option in the NHL.
Yeah, I think that's where his career trajectory is at this point. I agree with that 100%.
So, talking about defensemen, let's talk about Mr. Theo Lindstein. So, he scored the first goal of the game last night, and off a nice pass from Jake Neighbors. Jake Neighbors stole the puck as the Sharks were trying to clear the zone, found Lindstein streaking in, and he beat Askarov over the shoulder, and just a great wrist shot that beat him, streaking in on the left boards. And for me, the thing I think I like the most about Lindstein, it's not even the fact that he's solid defensively. We saw him break up a 2-on-1 last night, which as a rookie defenseman, I mean, that is so daunting, especially a team, in the high stakes it was with another team battling for playoff contention. But for me, and we've talked about it a little bit with his hockey IQ, it's his offensive instincts. Do not want to make the comparison to Matthew Schaefer, who is just unreal right now for the
another
Islanders.
Planet.
But yeah. But my point with saying his name right now is just that it's so effortless for a guy like Schaefer that you see him kind of make these decisions to step in and make the right play, pinch when he needs to pinch, stay back when he needs to stay back. And then obviously if he has a chance to drive the net, he's going to take it. I mean, just an unbelievable hockey player. But Lindstein, he shows those same instincts. He just doesn't have the level of finish, I guess, that Schaefer has. But last night, perfect example with that goal. He notices that, because at first, Neighbors actually turned the puck over, and the Sharks were getting ready to kind of break out of the zone. And you'd think in a situation like that, a rookie defenseman is, okay, I need to skate back, get to the blue line, be ready for a possible 3-on-2. He read, if you watch him, Neighbors is going to get back and get that puck back. And he darts into the zone, and Neighbors sees him, feeds him a perfect pass. He breaks it on the wing, scores the goal. And that was just such again, you look at it as somebody who watches hockey, and you're like, oh, yeah, well, that's what a defenseman should do. He should be able to read the play like that. The speed this game is played at, and with him only being in his 10th NHL game, the best league in the world, being able to read the play like that just speaks volumes to the type of hockey IQ this kid has. And I just love everything he's doing on the ice right now.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. We all hoped he would get a call up at some point this season. And once he did, he's making it stick. I think the only reason why he would ever go back at this point is, God forbid, an injury and a rehab. He looks like he belongs here, just like Stenberg in his original call up. He's had Stenberg that has had a few hiccups, post-Olympic break, but everybody's going to have that. Lindstein's going to have that at some point, but he looks natural. Like you said, his ability to read plays, and I think it's also important now that Broberg is our number one defenseman, right? That's what he is. He is dominating play. That number one pair is Broberg Mayu. Talk about Mayu in a minute.
Yes, we will.
But Broberg, and this is the thing that I've noticed about Lindstein. Like I have to build this story kind of backwards. Broberg's ability to read the play in the last month and a half since the Olympic break has been so evident. And he is so good at anticipating and breaking up plays and preventing easy zone entries. I mentioned that earlier, right? The Blues are a lot better at that. And a lot of that starts with Philip Broberg. Lindstein has that same instinct. And he's learning the game, he's absorbing it, and he's adapting quickly. A lot like we saw with Stenberg, right? These were two guys that when they were drafted, we heard a lot about their hockey IQ and how key they were to Sweden being successful when they were the leaders of their junior team. It is awesome to see and bodes very well for our future. I mean, think about, in a couple of years, right? If we don't trade Parayko could be in that discussion for like, hey, he's now our fifth D man, right? If things go well, Broberg, Mayu, Lindstein, Jiricek, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy to think. I don't think it happens in the next year, but
and you know what's crazy is that I think
Lindstein would be in the discussion this year.
If that happens in the next, let's say it happens 2-3 years and it's still in Parayko's current contract and he's still with the team, I don't think he has a problem with that. I think he's like, hey, you know what? I'm happy to be here. I'm here for a reason. I want to see this team win another cup, even if it means I'm getting fifth string minutes. I think he's okay with that. So I think that is very interesting to think about. I mean, again, you just think about where this team was just a couple years ago with the defensive contracts. Oh my gosh, we're locked into Letty and Scandella and Parayko and Falk and Krug and oh my God. And and now it's like we're looking at a youth movement right now, whereas the only guy locked in long term is still Parayko, which I think is the best option of all those names I listed. And and he's going to be, and they talked about it last night that apparently, and in home games, Joey Vitale is down on the ice. And he says, now you're like, you used to see Parayko, he'd play with, whoever it was, Bouwmeester or Krug or whoever he was playing with. And it would be, he's kind of the quiet leader, the guy who's just kind of like there. And, he'll back up his teammates when he needs. He might say something very minor in the locker room to get the team going. Now, apparently, he is talking all the time with Lindstein and trying to teach him everything and move him along. And again, for those of you who are mad that he nixed that trade, this is part of what Colton Parayko brings. And I really wonder if Lindstein would still be where he's at right now in his 10th game with the Blues if it wasn't for playing with Colton Parayko.
Yeah. And to me, you wonder, like, if Parayko didn't feel like he was talking out of turn, if Schen's still in the locker room, right? Yeah. Schenn was the vocal leader of the team. And now Parayko is sensing, and we, like when Schenn got traded, we're like, who's the captain of this team? Obviously at this point they haven't named anybody, and a lot of the money's on Jake Neighbors, but hell, what Parayko's shown since then, right? He is an actual leader, right? Taking Lindstein under his wing and helping him the same way that Bouwmeester helped Parayko, that Pietrangelo helped Parayko. It's incredible to see. And, I think for me, I feel like there was a, Parayko gets an A because he's been here long enough. And, he's the terrible Eric Brewer moniker, good in the locker room. But no, he's showing true leadership. and I love to see it, and I'm glad he refused to waive his no trade. It's working out pretty well for Buffalo, even though why they went out and got Logan Stanley, I'll never understand. But hey,
everyone needs the Tyler Tucker type, right? Like every team needs one of those for some reason.
That's right.
Hey, quick pop quiz for you, Bill. Let's see if you know this trivia question. Lindstein became the 4th Blues player to score his first NHL goal this season with the Blues. Who are the other 3?
Otto Stenberg.
1.
Snugger got his last year, so not him. Matt Luff.
Matt Luff had already scored in the NHL.
Oh, I thought you said with the Blues. So
no, first NHL goal.
First
this
NHL
season.
goal. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So Stenberg, Lindstein, Dvorsky.
The other one is very difficult.
I'll
give you a hint. Short stint, was up here for a very short period. Winger. I think he worked 56. I could be wrong, though. Hugh McGing. There it is.
Yeah. Because I knew it wasn't Kaskamaki.
Nope.
Because that was, he was the darling. He was the guy that wowed Jim Montgomery and was the first call up. But
but it was Hugh McGing.
Yeah. And for his troubles, he got sent right back down, right? Scores against Nashville in that collapse of a game. Right.
That's right.
The 2 games that we like, those are the games that we're going to lament at the end of the year, right?
We both said it in the Nashville one when they lost that one. Was it 6-4? When they lost that one, we both said that is the game we're going to circle as the reason they didn't make the playoffs. And it's funny because at the time we thought, oh, that's just going to be the game that steamrolls them and completely takes them out. Now we're looking at it like they don't lose that game. There's a chance they miss out on the playoffs by 2 points.
Right. And Nashville gets a second wild card.
Yep.
Right.
How crazy. That might be honestly what happens, which is I mean, poetic in a way, because honestly, with the collapse in that game, the Blues deserve it. They really do, because you can't let that happen, especially twice in a season. Unbelievable. But let's not get too negative about the past. So again, Jake Neighbors played well in this game, 2 assists. Joel Hofer went 24 for 29. Somebody said it earlier that they didn't think Hofer had a very strong game in this one. I will say, because somebody said, oh, it's with the way he's played, he's okay to have a dud every now and then. And I kind of disagree, because I don't think he played that poorly.
No.
I just think he had some bad bounces. And I will say, yes, the last goal was a dud. That's one he definitely should have had. I don't know if you disagree with that, but that was one that I was not a fan of for him. But overall, I thought he played fine. He didn't steal the game like we've seen him do, but he played well enough to get a victory, and just like I said, some bad bounces.
Yeah, I think last night was at the end of the game was a bit of the battered goalie syndrome, because the first 3 goals were all Logan Mailloux, right? And again, talking about guys who are due for an off night, he's been incredible. He's been punching way above expectation. Post Olympic break, and go back to the save of the week last week. He was lost the puck at his skate, looked like a glitch in an NHL series game on from EA Sports. That was his one kind of glaring bad moment until last night, and he had 3 of them in the first period, right? Or first 2 periods. And then he contributed, right? Terrible decision to pinch. So the goal that I thought, was on Hofer was the winner, right? And that he's got to stop that.
Yep.
But again, it's Logan Mailloux making an ill-advised pinch. He's playing the way the Blues have wanted their defense to play, pinch up and try to cut it off. But Gaudette, chipped around and Gaudette beat him back and shot low and squeaked through Hofer. That's one, as a goalie, yes, we have to make that save.
Especially since the pass was covered. Guy skated in, and Hofer looked like he had the angle. It just squirted right through him.
Yeah, he didn't seal down low, didn't get the paddle down, and it's one that if I give that goal up in beer league, I'm apologizing. I'm coming over to the bench to say, sorry boys, if you don't want me back, I understand. Just just terrible timing for that to go in. But that's really the only goal that I really thought he was to blame. Right. The Wenberg goal, he tries to make a pass and Mayu blocks it and puts it right back onto his stick, and Hofer's doesn't react in time. The Celebrini shot that's going 5 feet wide and goes off of Mayu back the other way and in. Just those were just bad bounces for Mayu and Hofer both. But hopefully they'll both learn. I will say, I was surprised that they went to Hofer in this game.
Are you really surprised anymore?
No, I was, only because I picked them up on my fantasy team, and I'm like, oh, now I have a hard decision to make, and I went with them, and that hurt, because started the championship in my fantasy league, and last night at one point I was down 18, so the score was 18 to negative 2.7.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So I'm in a league with Patrick
Star.
Well, his handle is Patrick Starfish, I think. But
Nice.
He's a listener of the show. I'm blanking. I'm so
Yoder?
terrible with names. Yes, Patrick Yoder.
There you go.
So it's him and a bunch of people, friends and family of his. And I'm in it in the championship tonight. I got my revenge. I am up 32 to 28.
Wow, look at you.
Strong performance from my Montreal Canadiens, Caulfield. Although my opponent has Nick Suzuki. I don't know if you caught the end of this game. Montreal wound up winning 4-1, 2 empty net goals. Suzuki had the puck with Slavkovsky, who I have, and Caulfield, who I have, on either side of him, and he decides to shoot it into the empty net. So I'm like, and neither of those guys got an assist. So I could have had a bigger pad, but anyway, I digress.
No, that's awesome. So I mean this game. So you mentioned Mayu's mistakes. The second one, it's hard for me to blame him because he was to the side and he was covering his guy and it just happened to go off. I think it was his thigh. Just an unfortunate bounce. The first one, it's like, I just try to look at it. I'm like, what do you do differently there? Because it's just kind of like he broke up the pass, but then it just bounced right back to Wenberg, who just fired it in from the slot. And I guess at that point, you have to say he either needs to block it and clear it, or kick it back to his goalie, or send it to the corner, something. But that was just such a weird bang play. It's really hard for me to say horrible play by Mayu. But I will say I agree with you on the final goal. 100% should not have pinched on that play. And 2, I just think overall he did not look as strong. I think he got in his own head after that first goal and just did not play well. And I was saying the people in the chat earlier were talking about how Hofer deserves a dud, right? Every once in a while. I'm going to say Mayu, I think, kind of deserves a dud at this point. He's earned it because he's played so well. He's been, as a rookie, people forget, he's still a rookie, being thrust on the top pairing with Philip Broberg and, playing lights out pretty much the last month and a half. I'm like, I can't get mad at you, Logan Mayu. Like, just get back out there next game and prove that you're still worthy of being on that top pairing.
Yeah, no, it's that the play where he blocked Wenberg's pass right back to Wenberg. I also have Wenberg, so that was one of my saving graces from last night. He counteracted Hofer's negative 5.3 points or whatever it was. I think the only thing he could do better in that play is not grip the stick so tight that it kills that puck. You want to deflect that
That's true.
into the boards on the side, right? Or into the
Yeah.
crowd.
Angle your stick a little bit differently. I agree.
Yeah, it's bang bang, right? And that one not going to fault him on. It's that a bad bounce goal, something that we suffered from big time at the beginning of the season.
Yep.
And I think both, like I said, kind of battered goalie syndrome for Hofer at the end of the game. Like, this hasn't been my night. I haven't had the bounces, and here I am, facing a guy that I should stop because he's really an AHL guy who's made a pretty decent season with San Jose. Never could really crack the lineup here when we had him in the system, but did lead the AHL in scoring that year.
He was great. Yeah, but no, he made a good play on that, and getting the shot off was smart. But that's one Hofer has to have. Especially late in the game, and somebody said it earlier in the chat. I'm sorry, folks, hard to keep up. But yeah, somebody said tired of losing games in the last minute. Yes, that was something I lamented on the Let's Go Blues Minute this morning. Is it's like, as good as this team has been in the last month, they have to remind us every now and then they're still that team that cannot hold a lead and gives up goals in the last minute to lose games. That has been under Jim Montgomery in his short tenure here. That has kind of been this team's mantra.
Yeah, so it's not a good MO.
No. So the other thing that's been good with the Blues lately is their PK. Since the Olympic break, since the Olympic break, they have been great. They've killed 37 of 42 power plays, which is an 88.1%. Heading into last night, that was the best percentage in the NHL in that time frame. But the Blues gave up 3 power play goals in this one. That was the first time since January 7th in a 7-3 loss to the Chicago Blackhawks, which I remember that game well, and that was awful as well. But not a good look. Again, we already mentioned the 2 goals that went on Mayu, but obviously you got a world-class player here in Celebrini that scored 2 of those goals and then had an assist on the other. His 99th, 100th, and 101st points this season. But at the same time, you can't just say, well, it was Macklin Celebrini going off. At the same time, this team is in a playoff hunt, and you cannot allow the Sharks to score 3 power play goals on you.
No, not at all. I mean, at the end of the game, or maybe it was second intermission, the discussion between Federico and God, my brain is not working for names.
I didn't watch the intermission.
Andy Strickland.
Stricker. Okay, yeah.
It was not Rivers last night. It was Strickland.
Both friends of the show, by the way.
Yes, Strickland and Federico. And they were talking about like the Celebrini kid, right? They kind of made the undersell joke. It's kind of good, huh? And he was really the big reason why San Jose got into the playoff push, and he remembered that last night, and he went off. Again,
it's funny because it was like a tale of 2 different Sharks teams, right? Because the game that they played earlier, which we'll talk about here in a second, when the Blues won that one in OT, they had lost, 6 straight? Then they came into this one 2-0-1, and so they were starting to roll again, and it was like 2 totally different teams the Blues met in the past week in the San Jose Sharks. And yeah, Celebrini, I think they said going into that game against the Blues last week, I think they said that he had only had an assist in like 7 games, and that was his worst stretch since like his first few games in the NHL last season. And, then all of a sudden, now he's putting up 3 points in the Blues, scores his 100th and 101st, and just going off on the Blues.
Yeah. So all the games are done for tonight. So quick update. Winnipeg beats Chicago 4-3 in overtime. So the Jets are now at 76 points, 74 games played. The Blues cannot catch them with 2 points tomorrow night. They'll be still a point behind them. But importantly, we play LA tomorrow night. LA. My dog moved my microphone. Seriously, he did. He came in here and bumped the pop screen, which I have pushed off to the side. So apologies for that bad audio for a second. But Seattle did lose to Edmonton. They got shut out by Connor Ingram. So that is the only plus in the Blues' favor. Tomorrow night, big game, San Jose versus Anaheim. So we're Ducks fans tomorrow night, but not Friday night.
Yes, and so if the Sharks lose that game and the Blues beat the Kings, they will leapfrog the Sharks again at 71 points and will be 6 back on Nashville tomorrow, which, man, it's so crazy to think about how much these standings change over because it just goes to show kind of how bad the Western Conference was this year and how the Blues were so out of it. And now all of a sudden they're just right back in it. It's kind of bizarre, but 12 games left. Wait, am I right on that?
No. So we have 11 games, or we have 9 games left.
What in the world? Yeah, my standings had it for March 25th. I'm not sure why that was. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
so if they get a win tomorrow, they will tie the San Jose Sharks at 75 points. If the Sharks lose.
If the Sharks lose, the Sharks still maintain a game in hand.
Yep.
So
and the Blues have a game in hand on the Predators. So if they win tomorrow, they will be 2 points back of Nashville, but would be tied with Seattle and San Jose if San Jose loses. And if no winner is determined through all of this, they will hold they will hold a 2-man sack race on consecutive Sundays until a champion is crowned. You know where that's from, right, Bill?
Simpsons episode, right?
No, that is basketball.
Oh no.
Excellent movie.
That is the one Trace Stone and Parker thing that I have never got into.
Oh man, that's one of my favorite movies. I love that movie. Wake up, bitch! You're my new best friend. What? We going to the zoo? Yeah, good stuff. All right. Any more on this game, Bill?
No. Let's talk about happier times.
Yes, so the Blues beat the Maple Leafs 5-1 on Saturday, and this was a listless Toronto team. We'll talk about them here again in a minute, but they did not look like an NHL team in this one. Dylan Holloway had a goal and an assist. That bumped his point totals up to 19 points in 15 games since the Olympic break. Kyrou and Thomas and Neighbors each had 2 assists each. So that's 4 points for Neighbors in 2 games. Binnington made 12 saves on 13 Maple Leaf shots. That high-powered offense, even without Matthews, only mustered 13 shots on Binnington. Blues won their 4th straight. St. Louis is now, after this game, they were 10-1-2 in their past 13. They moved to within 4 points at the time of the Predators, and this was the first time the Blues were over 500 since they were 3-2-1 early in the season. So again, a testament. We talked about how I think if the Blues would have won last night and they win tomorrow, they would have sat in a wild card spot for at least about 24 hours. A testament to this team, the fact that they were so down and out, and they actually were able to move above 500 again for the first time this season since they were 6 games into the year.
Just absolute craziness. Yeah, the Leafs were bad, and this was the Hockey Night in Canada game, and they're lamenting making that decision.
Yeah.
Obviously the Matthews injury was something And we'll talk more about that towards the end of the show. But the Leafs have just kind of their season got off on the wrong foot. Goaltending was an issue. Stolarz, got injured in the playoffs and kind of ruined their magical run last year. Took them a while to get back this year, and they never rekindled the magic. Unfortunately for St. Louis native Joe Woll, he got fed to the Lions by the end of this game. The Blues really outplayed the Leafs. The Leafs looked more like an AHL team that didn't care. And poor Joe Woll. He played
goes to
pretty
show
well.
the difference in mindset with these two organizations, right? Like the Blues have been out of it for a while, and look at the way they're playing, and you look at the Leafs, and it's like they've been out for a while, and they look like a team who does not belong even battling for a playoff spot.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's people that will attribute a lot of that to like having to live through every like the death by analysis of the Toronto media after every game and after every play. And when you're on a losing season, it gets that much longer for you.
Yep.
I think we'd be remiss if we didn't mention that after this game, the Toronto Maple Leafs relieved Brad Treliving of his general manager duties. And if I was on one of those prediction markets, because we've now whitewashed gambling on anything to prediction markets, if I was on any of those, I would have placed a bet that the first not rumors, but article in a major publication about Doug Armstrong being, a candidate for the Toronto job at under 24 hours. And it happened today. Thank you, Jeremy Rutherford.
Yep. Of course. Friend of the show.
Friend of the show. I'm pretty sure it was him. It might have been Myrtle. I mean, Myrtle's the guy that covers all things Leaves.
Yep.
Leaves. I said that. Oh my God.
How
Leafs.
dare you get off my hockey show?
Leafs.
I'm calling Jordan Deacon. She's taking your spot.
Well, that would be twice that I've been replaced by a much younger and prettier model this year.
That's an inside joke, folks. That's great. Oh, Bill. Bill has Bill's record as my team's goalie.
Not good.
Shies in comparison to the female who is kind of our third string goalie. Her name is Stephanie, and she's great. But she is 2-0-1 this season, which is hilarious that she did not lose a game. And so we've been giving Bill trouble about that he's getting replaced by a younger, prettier model.
Yes, that was if
Very
anybody
nice.
ever pays attention to my subtitle, that was my reference last week.
That's very good. So other thing to mention this game, you mentioned Doug Armstrong. He served in his 1,231st game as GM. He passed Frank Selke Sr. with Bill's Montreal Canadiens for the 16th all-time among GMs for games with a single franchise. So obviously those numbers end at the end of this season as the Blues GM, because he will no longer be in that position. Right now, he is planned to be the president of hockey operations, not the GM. So, but good to see him get there. I've had my problems with Armstrong over the years, but at the same time, the man brought us a Stanley Cup.
Mm-hmm.
So he will always get a free beer from me if I ever see him out.
Yeah. And, we talk a lot about wanting players wanting to see players finish their career here. I really hope he doesn't, that he sticks with the plan to be GM of hockey ops and doesn't go chasing the pipe dream that is the GM gig in Toronto. I think that's, that it's going to take not an established person. They're going to have to make and they tried this before with Dubas, didn't work out as well. But I really think that's how it's going to wind up working out in the end in Toronto.
Isn't that a That's a TLC song, right? Don't go chasing maple leaves. Stick it to the Blues and the T-Birds you're used to. Right?
I think that's right.
That's it. Yeah, pretty sure. Uh So, the easy transition to the next game. The Blues, well, this was the game before, obviously. Last Thursday, they beat the Sharks 2-1 in overtime in St. Louis. Dylan Holloway scored with 3 seconds left in overtime off a beauty stretch pass from Philip Broberg with about 11 seconds left on the clock. Holloway also added an assist, and at this point, he had 17 points in 14 games since he returned from injury at the Olympic break. And I loved this goal. I loved everything about this goal. Just the fact that it felt like when Broberg made that pass, because right before that, Orlov missed a shot high, and Broberg took the puck, sent it down to Holloway on the boards. And you just kind of got the sense that this is like a last ditch. He's just going to kind of take it to the corner and get a shot, bad angle, and then we're going to go to the shootout. No, he's not done. He cuts to the middle and roofs a shot on his backhand over Nedeljkovic, and Blues win the game in OT. Just an absolutely beauty and a smart play by Holloway. And I don't know if you saw his quote after. He said he didn't think there was going to be any time left on the clock, but he was just like, I'm just going to skate until the play's over, until the whistle. And he ends up scoring the goal. And I think the Sharks kind of were expecting, same thing I was, that, this period's over. We're going to the shootout. And for Nedeljkovic, it was just kind of like, guys, hello, and Holloway, he made the smart play. And hey, kids, that's what they teach you. Skate until you hear a whistle. And that's what he did. And he scored the big goal in OT.
Yeah. And, Nedeljkovic did not seal that post very well. That's a play that even I would have gone full reverse VH, hugging the post.
Ooh, that's saying a lot.
I've done that 4 times this year, and I've made saves on every time I did it. But yeah, the accuracy of that backhander to get it under the bar, that's something he does probably 5 times in practice every day. So it's a skill that he has, but to pull it off with almost no time left in overtime, that is got just an incredible play by him. And I'd be remiss not to bring up, that Askarov got injured, right? From the goalie perspective, it was one of my favorite things did happen, though. Not that I ever want to see a goalie go out injured in a game, but that allowed this from a very young age. Whenever there was a change of goalie, I always thought that the replacement goalie should get warm-up shots. And it warmed my little kid heart to see Nedeljkovic getting those shots. And I do believe it was Gaudette that warmed him up. So I think that should be a thing. Give goalies more love. Don't make us come in that cold every game.
Well, we've seen it where it's been like an equipment issue, and like a player has to come out, like the goalie has to come out to get his equipment fixed. Otherwise, they're going to delay a game. So they put the backup in for a few seconds, until the next stoppage. And I think that should count too. I'm with you. I'm like, that goalie, it's so unfair to the team and to that goalie that because there's an equipment issue, they have to have a cold goalie in there. Like he should get like you said, maybe you'll just lay out 5 pucks and you say 1 shot with each of these pucks, and that's it. That's better than nothing. I love that idea. I think goalies should get more warm-ups.
Yeah, 100%. Like I said, it warmed my little kid heart. That was, when I was growing up, there were several teams that I played tandem on that we would split games 50-50. And, whenever we swap out, we were given the opportunity to take 5 to 10 shots to warm up. And
it's like you think of pitchers, right? Like pitchers, if there's an injury, they always get time on the mound to pitch, but they also have the bullpen. They get to go into the bullpen and throw the ball as long as the team wants them to. You don't have that in hockey. You don't have a shooting cage for the goalie before he comes in to go, we're thinking about putting the backup in 5 minutes, so let's go have him warm up. Like, that's not a thing in hockey. So,
No.
yeah, I agree. I think you should get it. I mean, what's 1 minute? 1 minute to 2 minutes. Just let him take a couple warm-up shots.
Right. And, I think the argument against it, the natural argument is that coaches in the NHL will exploit the hell out of that. And for those injuries or for those equipment issue situations, they allow that guy to go, take the warm up and then, magically, the equipment repair is done and we don't actually have to make the change. I think that you could place another rule in there that says they have to play at least the next, until the next whistle goes.
Yeah, it could be something even like they have to play until the end of the period. Maybe it's in lieu of your timeout. Like maybe you say, hey, you can put your backup in. If you want them to have warm-up shots, that counts as your timeout. I'd be okay with that too. Yeah. I think a lot of coaches would be okay with that as well, because, you got to think about it. If you're putting your backup in, there's a chance you're going to want to take a timeout anyway. So yeah, I think there's things you could put in place to mitigate that. And I'm with you. And I think it's also like, you can't just keep switching out your goalie and like, every time they get warm up shot, you get it once.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. 100%. Right. And that it's, let's give us goalies some more love, please.
I agree with that. So Hofer, speaking of goalies, 25 shots, 24 saves. When Winberg scored, which he's been kind of a Blues killer this past week, when he scored, it ended Hofer's shutout streak. Remember, he got the shutout against Washington at 166-49, and that dated back to the Blues' 2-1 shootout loss at the Calgary Flames on March 18th. That was the game where the Blues had 3 challenged goals, and they all went away for Calgary. So, very nice game for Hofer. Again, thought he played very well in this one. And Blues got some good goaltending there in that win, and, of course, in the game against Toronto with Binnington as well. Sharks lost 6 straight. They were outscored 29-12 in that span. And, again, just goes to what I was saying earlier, that you kind of looked at this team and they came in against the Blues and they were awful. And it was just, oh man, Blues have got to win this one. And then you turn around and play them again just a couple nights later, and all of a sudden they've earned points in the last 3 games, including the one against the Blues. And it's like how quickly teams can kind of turn things around.
Right. And the previous one was against Columbus, which is one of the hottest teams, since they made their coaching change. So impressive turnaround. And if you can chalk it all up to Celebrini, that's a great storyline for San Jose.
They get in the playoffs, he's MVP, right?
100%.
He has to,
right? And that champ broke out last night, right? Every time when he got his 100th and 101st point, that building was super loud. And chanting MVP. Great building. I have had the opportunity. I got to see the Blues beat the Sharks there in game 5 or 6, 2015.
I remember that.
So that was awesome. Going back to our memories, right? The 2015 finals run, or Western Conference finals run. 16. That was the year I got to go. So
16. Well, next up for the Blues, they will play tomorrow night at 8:00 in Los Angeles. Friday, they play at 9:00 in Anaheim. And then Sunday, they end their road trip at 8:30 in Colorado. That is on Easter, which is interesting because I know the Blues have played on Easter before, but it's usually in the afternoon. I can't remember the last night game they had on Easter. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
What time is that in Colorado? I guess that's 7:30, right?
Yeah, they're an hour behind.
Yeah. So, interesting. Then they turn around in a back-to-back with Colorado. Well, I guess home and home is the proper term. They play Tuesday at 7:00 here in St. Louis against the Avalanche. We'll probably have a show on Wednesday, so expect that. And then Thursday, April 9th, they will play Winnipeg, who is a team they are also battling for a playoff spot. So by that point, we will see where they're at in the standings. But definitely interesting that they're playing LA, which obviously is another team they're battling. Anaheim, a good team. Colorado, obviously, very good team, but the Blues have played well. And Winnipeg, another team they're battling in the playoffs. So this is an interesting schedule for the Blues. So I think by Friday night, we will have a very good idea if this team actually has a chance to make the playoffs.
Right. We may be talking about our season wrap-up show. Hopefully not. Hopefully they play way above expectations. This is definitely the hardest 4-game stretch, right?
Yep.
When we, I think we took advantage of our opportunities that we had against West or Eastern Conference teams not in the playoffs, Washington, and that the great shutout against Washington, and then beating Toronto. But from here on out, it's going to be difficult.
I think they have a game against. I think they're playing almost against any team that's above them right now in the race, except Seattle coming up, and obviously they just closed it against San Jose. But yeah, so big games coming up. I mean, if this team's going to be the real deal and push for the playoffs, they'll need a couple more wins here in the next week. So we will see where they're at by our next show. Let's talk about one more quick thing before we wrap up. So around the NHL, rapid fire tidbits, which we do not do nearly as much as we probably should, but whatever. Show's almost over. Who cares, right? Radko,
who's going to grade us on it at this
exactly.
point?
Radko Gudas took his licks against the Leafs. Matt Stone about it on the show. The big hit he had against Austin Matthews, received a 5-game suspension, and was back for this game against the Maple Leafs. I don't know if you saw, Bill. I did. We'll talk a lot here about Gudas, but I did see that he was in a boot apparently before this game, and so a walking boot. And so they asked him, why are you still playing tonight if you're possibly hurt? And he says, I stand by my own mistakes. I want to address it myself. So that's one of the reasons I play 100%. That's one of those games where I have to play. And right off the face-off, he was in the starting lineup. You have to think that was intentional. And Max Domi instantly dropped the gloves, went after him. Interesting fight for Gudas, who's a tough guy. Did not throw a punch. Right. Literally let Domi just absolutely control the fight. I think they said that Domi threw 15 punches, and some of them didn't land, but he did get him a couple times. And Gudas went down, turtled after a few hits, and you got to respect the hockey culture with this. The fact that Gudas knew what was coming. He knew he had to be in the lineup, and he had to face it. And I got to say, I did gain some respect for Radko Gudas with this one.
Yeah, it's weird culture.
Yeah,
but,
right.
But we do. You have to begrudgingly respect them for like you said. Probably wouldn't play if he's in a walking boot, but knew that the blowback would be incredible. Oh, he's lying. He's not really hurt. And kudos to him for standing up. Kudos to Gudas.
Yes. Kudos to Gudas.
Yes, kudos to Gudas.
No, I will say I would have preferred if Gudas still tried to win the fight. Like if it was like, hey, if you want to fight me, 100% come over here. I deserve it. But I'm still going to throw punches. I'm still going to defend myself. I think I would have preferred that, but at the same time, I do respect it of him just being like, yeah, come beat my ass. I deserve it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's how crazy is it that the Leafs and the Ducks got 2 late season games where they can do that again this year. Yeah, that's
well, and I'll say, and I did see somebody, I think it was on the Hockey News, say in one of their articles that too little, too late for the Leafs, and I kind of agree with that. The fact that you kind of had to circle the calendar. I don't know if you saw that George Peros even said that he will be attending this game. So he made sure that he would be there for that, which I'm like, okay, you're in attendance. What does that mean? Like, I always think that's so funny when you see like Gary Bettman, with a big rivalry game when there's possibly going to be a couple fights. I'm going to be there. What is your presence doing? Who cares? Like, you can watch the game on TV like the rest of us. Like, either way, still, I will say that I do think the Leafs should have done something sooner. It should have been right in the moment, and that didn't happen. But at least they did try and do something. It's just, to me, it's got to be in the same game. Right when it happened, there should have been a swarm of people going after Gudis.
Right. It should have happened the period it happened. Berube stirred him up and got a little bit. I didn't see the original game. But Berube, I forget who it was, but said, he went in there, gave them the business, and they came out and, got a little feisty in the third period of that. But for nothing to happen in the moment, right? That kind of shows. And I think that was probably the true nail in Treliving's coffin, right? That the culture is gone from this team.
Yep. And I'll say, man, and again, going full circle, going back to what we talked about at the start of this show with you and I, and I'm not trying to praise myself as being like a great hockey culture guy, but like the fact that guy, I saw him slash you in the helmet, and my first thought in freaking beer league is just, I need to go kill that guy. Like, that is what you do for your teammates. Like, friends or not, it's your teammate. Like, that's your brother on the ice. And the fact that we didn't see that at all in this game, this game being back when he hurt at Matthews, unbelievable. I just can't imagine. I mean, and again, we talked about it already, but I can only imagine what Berube was thinking when that happened. Like, what is this team? Who am I coaching? You got to be kidding me.
Yeah. Unforgivable sin to me.
Yep. Agree. All right, Bill. Anything else before we close up?
No. We didn't do a lot of. We didn't call out a comment of the show. We did skip over a lot of the commentary here, and we apologize. We'll be better, but had a lot.
I'm trying to scroll through and find something because there's so much good stuff that everybody was saying. But yeah, we kind of got lost in our own conversations tonight. We didn't. We didn't talk much with the crowd, so we apologize for that, folks.
We were not very inclusive this evening.
No, we were not. We are horribly not inclusive. Here we go. Okay, here's our comment of the show.
I knew it. I'm surrounded by assholes.
D. Brown SS. Play Tucker. Tank it out. Yes, there you go. You want to get losses? Play Tyler Tucker. And you know what? The fact that he's hurt doesn't matter. He'll still play the same. Pylon will always be a pylon.
Yes.
All right, there you go. We still got a comment of the show in. How about that?
Perfect.
Now we can close her up. Again, want to real quick remind everybody, if you're interested in my new show, the Pondcast, Conversations That Go Nowhere, make sure you go subscribe to it wherever you get podcasts, wherever you get Let's Go Blues Radio, you can get this there as well. So just search for that, give it a subscribe, and tomorrow at some point in the early morning, you will get the new episode, the first episode of the new show, where I have John Pertzborn on. Bill, you and I still need to do one. I'll have you on the show as well. That'll be fun. You and I talking about non-hockey stuff. That'll be interesting. Although we did say, and I agree with you, of course, the show you come on, it'll probably be like favorite sports team. It'll be like, all right, I guess we're talking about the Blues.
Yeah. I think you should make an exception for it being having a veto in the show that we do together. That if it comes up sports topic, and then it will be on us to tie it back to the Blues.
That's a good idea. I like that. Or at least tie it back to hockey in some way.
Right. Right.
We'll find a way. There's always a way.
Always.
All right. Well, thanks to our incredible sponsor, strikewithmike.com. That will wrap up episode 26 of season 15 of the original St. Louis Blues hockey podcast, Let's Go Blues Radio. Thanks for listening, and thanks to those who participated in the YouTube and Facebook live chats during the live show. Make sure to follow us on socials at LGB Radio, and like, follow, and subscribe to us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. For Kirk Price and Bill Day, I'm Jeff Ponder, and this was Let's Go Blues Radio. Until next time, everyone, let's go Blues.
Let's go Blues.
TV talking St. Louis Blues hockey, moving fast, can't catch the beat. Skates on fire, ice undefeated.